So as I said, thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Chris, I'm from Global Opportunities at Cardiff University. This is our first session today, and this is sort of a kind of introduction to some of the other sessions that our partner providers will be hosting later on today. And what we wanted to do was to give you quite a brief overview of the remote international placements available to you through Global Opportunities this summer. We're also going to talk about the benefits of undertaking a remote opportunity and about the funding available to you. So ordinarily at this time of year, we would be promoting the many in-person summer programs that we have to offer, and that's obviously what we wish we were able to do this year. We would love to be sending students all across the world as we ordinarily do. However, given where we are in the world at the moment, due to the constraints around travel, obviously that's just not possible in the way that we wish it was. So what we've done to try and combat that is to develop and source a number of remote opportunities, mainly to give you that same type of international experience, admittedly not quite in the same way, but still with lots of the benefits that you can obtain from an international placement. One of the main benefits of remote programs is the flexibility that it offers you to complete the program around your other commitments. Many of our programs can be completed flexibly in terms of how many hours you have to do, when you can do it, and that means that you can really carry on with any of your other commitments around the program. We've also made sure that we've sourced programs where cultural immersion and interactivity is integral. We want to make sure that these experiences are still as rounded and as culturally rich as they would be if you were in country. It's not obviously it's not quite possible to replicate that exactly, but we wanted to make these programs as culturally rich and give you that element of cultural exchange as much as we possibly could. This means that you have the opportunity to meet local people, learn about their country, and maybe some language courses. Some of the programs do cookery classes and things like that. So it's a really good opportunity to still get some very varied international experience. The main thing I think from remote opportunities that we're looking to give you, as I mentioned, it's about the international experience, but it's also about developing a range of skills. So it's giving you that enhanced skill set, things like intercultural awareness, networking, independent working. These are all valuable skills that employers are going to be looking for. And also the fact that you're going to be doing it remotely. So it's a really good opportunity to enhance your digital skills, which again, as the working world sort of reacts and evolves in light of COVID, working remotely is probably going to be something which is more prominent throughout the working world. So as you get into your graduate positions, this type of experience we hope will really stand you in good stead for that. And finally, the cost is probably the biggest benefit in the sense, because with no travel required, there are no travel costs, there are no accommodation costs. So although you're not getting the full international experience of being in country, there are some benefits still. You're going to save a lot of money that way. And finally, we hope that this will whet your appetite, and that if you're still in Cardiff next summer, that it could potentially lead to an in-person placement in the future. So the programs that you'll be told about today and the sessions that will be covered today, these programs are all funded by Global Opportunities. So every program that we're offering here will come at no cost to eligible students. And by eligible students, we mean, as you can see on the screen there, we're talking to, it's only eligible for undergraduate students. Any program that you undertake must be completed before you graduate. You can't have previously received Global Opportunities funding. And if you've got a period of study abroad as part of your degree, because you'll receive funding for that, we can't give you funding for this. So what you're going to hear about today throughout the sessions are a couple of different main areas. The first being remote international internships. These are organised by our partner providers, and they work with a number of companies in countries, as you can see on the screen: Vietnam, China, Mexico, the USA, Fiji, India, and Australia. And those are split across sort of 3 or 4 providers. These are where you would do an internship remotely for that company. We ask for these placements to be a minimum of 70 hours. With these providers, they all are, so that's fine. This is a really great way to enhance your CV. This is real life work experience. And with it being a remote internship, it also completely eliminates that risk of what you might have heard of some bad internships out there where there's a lot of sort of photocopying and basic admin and making tea and things like that. We're very careful to select our providers that are offering real life internships where maybe you're given a project to undertake, or you are given some substantive work which has got a sort of end result, an end product for the provider. We want these internships to be beneficial not only to our students but also to the companies, so that there is a greater sort of work product that comes from it. But it is a great way to enhance your CV. It's going to look really good if you've got an internship with an international company. It's also a good way to gain global skills. As I say, we know that employers are looking for these. Employers are looking for students who've got international experiences. It's a really good way to expand your network of connections. You're going to meet a lot of people in your host company, maybe fellow colleagues who are doing similar, and you may have external meetings throughout your internship, which is just a really good way to expand your network. And it's a really good way to explore a potential career path. You might be sort of thinking you've got a good idea of what you want to do after graduation, or you might be completely clueless, which is not a bad thing. And I know I was when I was in university. I did not have the first idea what I wanted to do after university. So exploring a potential career path is a really good. This is a really good way to do that. The way that the internships work, generally speaking, is you let them know what sector you're interested in, and they'll do the matchmaking process for you and find a company that suits. So it may be a way to consolidate a potential career path and a career plan, or it might rule something out, which equally I don't think can be a bad thing. And as mentioned, funding is all covered. So the partners that are presenting today, we'll show you a schedule of those sessions at the end of this presentation. We're also offering some slightly different programs, so away from the traditional internships, we've got a couple of our partner providers offering something slightly different. The first being one of our providers called Pagoda Projects, who are running skills programs. These are online courses looking to enhance your cultural fluency, looking at improving your employability and your workplace understanding. So there's a series of online courses, workshops, webinars. So that's quite a useful and quite an easy way to gain some really useful knowledge and experience. Another of our partners, this is a brand new partner for this year called Hacker Exchange, and they're running quite a cool program called the Great Global Challenge. This is a collaborative program with students from universities in the USA, Australia, and New Zealand. And the concept is that you'll be given sort of some briefings and some masterclasses from speakers from some pretty high-end tech giants such as Google, Amazon, TED, and Microsoft. And then you'll be put into groups with students from those other universities in order to propose a tech-enabled solution to a problem which is being identified called protect human rights in a post-truth world. This is a really good, innovative, quite intense and hands-on problem that you'll have to solve and work on solving using a tech solution with students from around the world. So this is a really good program. And as I said, those two providers will be presenting later on. You could also look to take part in a study program, an online study program and this is basically very flexible. This can be at any recognised institution anywhere in the world, as long as that study program is a minimum of 2 weeks. And it's outside of the UK, we would look to see if we can support you through it. These would need to be a minimum of 2 weeks in duration. These are not credit bearing, so it doesn't count towards your degree. And what that means is you've got complete flexibility to choose whichever subject you might wish to. You might want to do something related to your degree. Equally, you could do something completely different. A lot of students use this option as a way to improve or learn a new language. And there are lots of online summer schools within Europe where you can do that kind of thing. Deadlines for these programs tend to be a little bit later. So we will be updating our internet pages to reflect these sort of probably through April and May, where you'll see a lot more information about these. However, you are able to start researching any online study programs as soon as you wish, and you can get in touch to discuss funding that we might be able to provide for these. So thinking ahead to the schedule, we're going to kick off at 10 o'clock, so in just under 20 minutes, with virtual internships in Australia with our provider Internships Down Under. That very much is what it says on the tin. That's where virtual Internships Down Under will help you source an internship with an Australian company. Then at 10:30, the one I just talked about, the Hacker Exchange, which is the Great Global Challenge Programme. Our colleagues from there will be talking about that programme in greater depth. At 11 o'clock, it's our partner provider called the Virtual Mojo. They are offering virtual internships in India, so very similar to the Australia model, where they will help you source an internship in India. The Virtual Mojo are working with predominantly startups, so quite new companies in India. So those placements are probably going to be, you probably get a bit more hands-on experience, you probably have a little bit more freedom, a bit more flexibility to be a bit more creative. They've got a number of really good, quite innovative roles which could be of interest to you. At 12 noon, it will be Pagoda Projects, so they're going to be talking to you about a couple of things. Remote internships, which they're able to offer with companies based in China, Vietnam, Mexico, and the USA. And they'll also be talking about the skills programs, which I mentioned, with the enhancing your employability and the cultural awareness and things like that. So that one's at 12 noon. And then rounding it all off at 1 p.m, we have Think Pacific, who ordinarily, as I mentioned, will be sending students to do volunteering in Fiji. However, they've been quite reactive and they've innovated some internships in Fiji, and they've actually got some pretty awesome internships in Fiji, working with the Fijian ministry, with some local charities and some NGOs, and they've made a really immense impact in Fiji over the last sort of 7 or 8 years through their programs. So that's quite an exciting one to be involved with as well. At the end of each session, there will be the opportunity to ask questions through the form, through the Q&A function. So there's plenty of opportunity for you to ask any questions that you might have. You've managed to join this event, so hopefully you're pretty clued up as to how to join the other events if you haven't already. But there is a page on the internet entitled Discover International Virtual Programs. So if you search for that on the student intranet, all the events are listed there, and you can click through to book onto those sessions. If you're not able to make any of the sessions that you're interested in, as mentioned at the start, these are all being recorded and they will be made available on the internet later in the week. And we'll send some follow-up information by email too. So if you're interested in any of the programs that we've mentioned, please do join our providers webinars later today. We do have a separate internet page with all the information on the programs that we have as well, which is just through virtual programs on the student internet. And that's where we list everything. That's where we'll keep all of our programs listed throughout the next few months, and we'll be adding to that as we go along. We also have a monthly newsletter, which we send out usually monthly, where we have information on upcoming deadlines, new programs, things to look out for. You can sign up to this by scanning the QR code on the top right of the slide. If you have any subsequent questions after today's events, then you can always email us at go@cardiff.ac.uk. So if anybody has any questions now, then please feel free to type them into the Q&A. Otherwise, thank you for attending this introduction session, and we hope to see you at many of the events later through the day.